Welcome to Let's Make Millions. We're here at the Canella Media Studios. I'm Rob Medved, CEO of Canella, and managing partner here, Bill Raymond. Good guest today. Great guest.
I mean, the stories, and I will say this, that before this one, I was like, I don't really know a lot about watches. I don't know how interesting it's going to be. It was really good. And I think the best thing about it was there's always a story behind the business.
Yeah.
And that's what you forget. And I think as we get older, I think we're starting to try and enjoy, the process because when you hear the stories and the process that he went through, it's remarkable.
Yeah, very successful guy, Jack Abramov, Beverly Hills Vintage Watch Company.
Bling Beverly Hills.
Bling Beverly Hills, and his connection with Elizabeth Taylor, how that came to be, how he created a $100 million marketing company based on her name. And it's not always about success, it's about failures as well. And he talks about that, how it ended, how it unraveled in the face of the financial crisis and some other things along the way. And so it's always great to hear a rich story like that, especially when it's attached to the cachet of somebody like Elizabeth Taylor.
For sure.
Yeah, it was fun, really fun talking to Jack today. Beverly Hills Vintage Watch Company. So when you make millions, then you can go find a really nice watch from him. They sell all over the world.
Yeah.
It's crazy. As part of Let's Make Millions, we also have a facet called Let's Give Millions. And on Jack's behalf and on Elizabeth Taylor's behalf, ElizabethTaylorAIDSFoundation.org is the organization that we're going to give to on behalf of Jack and Elizabeth Taylor in that effort. He told a story when the cameras were off about how she was filming in Africa, and it is when people were getting sick. And she was really a front runner in AIDS.
Sure.
She put her name out there. He's saying people would call and get mad at her and hang up when nobody really had a handle on what AIDS was. And she was filming down there. She had a pear-shaped, from Burton, from the diamond necklace. And when somebody got sick and they didn't have a hospital to go to, she was astounded. And she ended up donating that piece of jewelry and said, go build a hospital. So that effort continues with Elizabeth Taylor AIDSFoundation.org. So give yourself. We're going to give a little bit. Stay tuned. Listen to the great stories from Jack Abramov.
This is a shakedown, and you can rock and roll with an attitude. So good, so fresh, just the way you like it. So good, so fresh.
Welcome to this episode of Let's Make Millions. We're here in Canella Media Studios in Santa Monica, California. I'm Rob Medved, CEO of Canella Media, managing partner Bill Raymond. What's up, Billy?
What's up, guys?
We have a very special guest today, Jack Abramov. Hi, Jack. How are you?
Hello. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for coming in. So,
real fast, I think Jack is the most well-dressed person we've had so far on our podcast.
Oh, by far. I like it.
Sharp.
Guys, you didn't send me the menu. I just said, hey, I've got to look the part. And,
well,
we love it.
You fit the part. If you've made millions, when you've made millions, we got the guy that you can spend it with because he is in the world of high-end watches and jewelry. You have started numerous entities, starting with way back in the day, the House of Taylor, and we'll get into that a little bit with you running the Elizabeth Taylor line and the jewelry, etc. You now sit atop Bling, Beverly Hills Bling Entertainment Network, which is a media and entertainment site and network, all things celebrity and jewelry and watches, and your mainstay, which is a very successful Beverly Hills Watch Company, online, new watches, repurposed older watches, and we're going to get into all of this today.
Yeah, I would say that the Bling is like the TMZ of watches. It's like I'm a big TMZ fan.
Exactly.
So it's like the TMZ.
Exactly. There's so much news about Bling every day. There's there are beautiful women, and there's beautiful jewelry, and it's for guys. It transcends all ages and cultures and every language. So this the need, the want for news about jewelry, about diamonds, who's wearing what, who got what, so this is something that people want. And I have a partner in that business who's a Emmy Award-winning producer that was with NBC for many years, and we set up this team where we bring all the news every day, what's hot, and it's on Bling Beverly Hills, and we tweet every day, and it's on the website.
Yeah, it's great. It's good information. I mean, it's become such a big part of pop culture, right? The watch you wear. There's watches that sell for millions of dollars, and people wear them on their wrist.
Absolutely, it's music, it's celebrity, it's sports. It's something that's touching everybody. So, and there's news every day about it. Yeah,
and it's attached to success. It's a marker. When we go through business and go through our lives, you hit certain benchmarks. When you're playing sports, it's the score on the scoreboard. And at some point, it's not so much as about the material, but like it is.
It's aspirational.
I made it.
It's an aspirational gift. It's somebody that I've been waiting all my life. When I graduate, I want a Rolex, or it's something that if I make $1 million in a real estate deal, I'm going to buy myself a beautiful diamond, or So it is an aspirational gift. And even when you're younger, there's a bar mitzvah or wedding or a sweet 16, or there's even a Valentine's, these type of gifts like a diamond heart or something like that. It's very personal. So those type of things are connected to us emotionally.
Yeah. And I think as you get older, then maybe you bought yourself a watch, and then you can hand it off to your child. It's like part of me.
Yeah, there's just some sentimental
piece
to
it. It's very
to
personal. It's touching your skin. It's part of you, something you wear every day. You imagine you have something that your father wore, for 30 years, and then you have it. And he's no longer around, but you have this thing. So it has an energy to it. These used watches, when we buy them, we joke, but these are, a lot of them, they're dead man's watches.
Right.
And they have some kind of an energy, some kind of a history, and we don't refurbish anything, because when we refurbish, it sounds like you replace parts or whatever. We don't.
It's all original.
We restore them.
Oh, gotcha.
So basically, we use the same parts. We take it apart.
Yep.
And we clean it. We put it back together. We put new gaskets, and the way the Swiss designed these watches, they're geniuses, and they made it in such a way when you put it back together, it runs, and then it's just amazing.
It never ceases to amaze me how a watch actually works. Like, if you really think about it, you got something on your wrist that is going to be to the second, very accurate for months at a time, self-winding with these tiny, tiny gears and springs. It's amazing. And they hold a lot of asset value. The higher end watches, just like high end art and higher end cars.
Absolutely. This is wearable art. And it's also, the intriguing thing is that it intrigues a lot of men too, because of the, there's an element in here about engineering, and that, these are moving parts. These are something, that's if you look at movements, they're done on several levels. So it goes deep. And if you understand that, you would say to yourself, wow, this is something I wear, enjoy, and then the styling it became like a piece of jewelry. How many things can men wear? There's most men don't wear rings, or you'll wear a bracelet, or maybe, but a watch is something that guys might have more than one of.
Yeah.
And many of these today, many of the collectors, I've seen guys with rooms full, drawers full, and safes full of stuff that's just their own personal collections.
Yeah.
Did your interest in this come at an early age? Is it?
Absolutely. I grew up in the jewelry business. My dad was a gold dealer, and when I was a teenager, I would travel a little bit with him, and I would go to the jewelry stores, and what I would see is that I would really be intrigued by the watches. I would say, wow, the watches are really, it's such a cool part of the business. And when I would get back, I would say, hey, if you need a watch, let me know, because I'm able to get, like, say, a Breitling at 50% off, and make maybe a little bit of money, and then the client is happy, or my friend is happy, and then so I started doing a little bit of that, and I was able to get a lot of these brands through the retailers that that I met along the way, and throughout my history of being in the jewelry business, I've been collecting watches.
Yeah.
So at one point I had a large collection of stuff that I loved myself,
Yeah.
which was and once you start getting in the world of collecting and you see all of a sudden, and these pieces are going up all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not that just like you're collecting, they're appreciating, and it's like stock.
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps going up and up, and so that also helped pull me in.
How does it work from a collector's standpoint? If I buy a watch and it goes up in value and I sell that watch, is that a taxable gain? Of course it's a taxable gain, but there's a piece to assets like art and jewelry that people use as an increase at values to pad tax.
Yeah, in
right?
a way, you're right. You're right. If you put an item on eBay, for example, and you sell your watch and you collect the money, it's up to you to say if it's to declare it. So, but you're right. It's been a way for a lot of people to keep assets and hide assets or transport assets, or there are a lot of people that will leave a country, for example, where you cannot buy a Rolex or a Patek Philippe, for example. They'll fly to somewhere, the U.S. or anywhere in Europe. They'll buy a watch for 100,000 or 200, whatever it is, and then they'll fly back and they're wearing it, so nobody's going to say anything, and then they ship the box afterwards. So and then they can make a profit.
Tony, our old president Tony and I were at the Cosmopolitan, and there's a watch store there. It's like a sliver of a store, and we were coming up from an after party. And this was at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and the store was open.
The store,
and it's tiny. And we walked in, and we said, and Tony's like, we had a couple cocktails. He's like, I want to put on the most expensive watch. He goes, well, the most expensive watch we have in the store it isn't here. It's $1 million watch. You probably know what category that would be or what watch brand it could possibly be. So he brought out another one. It was platinum, and it was like a $500,000 watch. And Tony,
I'd be afraid.
And we said, well, what is the $1 million watch? He said, well, we just sold it yesterday, and we sold it to an Asian guy who came in, put it on, and wears it back to China on his wrist. And so he came over, and it's what you're talking about, is being able to transport and hold value. It's a great place to park money. If it goes up, it's probably not going to decrease in value, but it also allows him to, I don't know what transactional value that has, but he's doing something in that.
There are a lot of reasons to do it, and so that's why also there's people have put money into diamonds, for example.
Yeah.
You can put. You can walk with $100 million of diamonds, and you can walk through a metal detector. Nobody would know, and travel with it. You can't do that with any material or any kind of cash or anything else in the world.
Yeah.
So that's always been a way that, part of the business of the diamond business, it was partly selling diamonds, and a big part of it was moving money.
Yeah.
And that's really what it was.
Makes sense.
And so it's. And
so
it was
that's probably what's happening in that case.
And it was a very secretive business too. It's not like you can just say, "Hey, you know what? I want to get in the diamond business today." Okay, so you can't. You have to know somebody who knows who trusts you, who knows that you're not going to, take money and run away, and so there's a lot of trust, and it's it was a very kind of a secretive business. So. One of the things that we've been working on is a behind the scenes look at it's called Behind the Bling, and where it is we unveil really what goes on behind the scenes, like where does the stuff come from, like how is it produced, how is the money followed, where is it, and also what is the real cost. What are the markups?
That's a great idea for
it's
a
interesting.
show.
There's a LinkedIn post that I saw going around that talks about a bar of iron or a bar of silver, whatever it is, and the value of that bar. Let's say it's $100, and then once you make that into a needle for sewing, it becomes that bar actually now translates to maybe worth $300 when you break it down into all the needles. And then when you progress, and it went through all of these different commodities, and it would end up with something like a watch where you say, look, the actual metal value of the watch is not $1 million, but it's the engineering of it, it's the branding, the marketing of it, and it's this commoditized value that becomes something bigger. And I thought it was really interesting
Yeah.
to see that, and it kind of, I think the post was actually about what you do with yourself and how you can make yourself more valuable in the world by marketing yourself and filling yourself with more education and knowledge. But it's interesting. It's reminded me of something as well with that. We asked that store in Vegas, why are you open at 11 at night? Like how many watches can you be selling? And they're like, we never sell watches really at 10 or 11 at night. We really just don't. Maybe twice a year, but that makes up for the entire year.
For
because
sure,
the
because-
margin on $1 million watch is probably what?
You know what? That's why for online we're open 24/7.
Yeah.
And in every country and in every language, all the time. So because at any point, at any time, someone's going to wake up and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm looking for, I don't know, a Submariner. I want this watch." Or so you're right. It is 24/7. And today, because the way the world works, someone somewhere is up looking, and everyone is connected online.
When you look at your direct-to-consumer overall business, is most of it within the States, or is a large portion of it overseas because the times have changed? And
Yeah, well, since moving to Beverly Hills, more than 50% of our sales are international, and because the world is the biggest market, and so we've got Europe, Asia, Middle East. I mean, we've sent to over 90 countries,
Yeah.
and so definitely the world has opened up. Also, because it comes from Beverly Hills too.
Yeah, there's a cachet.
There is. You're getting something. Hey, honey, I got something. It's from Beverly Hills. So they know that, and we're also delivering the best quality. I mean,
Yeah.
we won't let an item go out until it's perfect. Until we get everything right. It's not going to come out scratched or not working. It's got. We bring it to its best level, and then sell it. And we have very satisfied customers. Up to a third of our customers are repeat customers.
They come back. They're
They come
collectors.
back.
Well, you have beautiful, beautiful
come back.
pieces. The site is gorgeous. Beverly Hills Watch Company.
A vintage watch.
Vintage.
Yeah. It's
And-
Beverly Hills vintage watch. We have Beverly Hills vintage Rolex.
Yeah.
We've got Daddy's watch. We're at GMT Sky. We're at. We have so many. We have over 100 websites.
Yeah.
And we have an eBay site that we've had over in the last 10 years over 30,000
Let's talk
transactions.
Let's talk about this a little bit. So you have a huge inventory, and you have pretty much every high-end brand known to man. I mean, if I go on your website, there is just a ton of watches to look at.
Yeah,
Ranging from
actually they're
a few
most
$1,000s to what are some of the highest end watches that you have on there?
maybe up to 50,
Yeah.
up to 50,000. But we've had items at up to $500,000.
Yeah.
But our sweet spot is, we're affordable luxury.
Yeah.
So our sweet spot is for between 5 to 25,000.
Yeah.
Which is, you can get into the collecting, and you can get a high end brand, which like a Rolex, starting at $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. I think it's a great thing to own, and it's a great investment. They don't go down.
Yeah.
And then so you sell the watches, but are you buying them as well? Do people come directly to you and then you give them a percentage of it, or do you do it on wholesale, or you do it all like you buy it up front and then sell it? Or
Yeah, well, how we source, because I have deep roots in the business. I've been in the business all my life, so I've been sourcing watches. We have a dealer network that we work with, and I source from dealers all over the world. And so we basically we don't work with individuals that have a watch and they want to sell it or something. No, we buy more in bulk. And we have the facilities to do all the restoration. We take it apart, we clean the case, we clean the bracelet, we replace the crystal if it's broken or cracked. We even clean the dial and the hands. They need a little polishing. I mean, we're talking about very intricate work. That's not even to mention the movement inside, where I've got guys that have been in this business for 30 years, doing movements and.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of take something that's we give it a new life,
Yeah.
like an old car or an old home, where you take it and you bring it back to life, and then you give it a new life, because then it runs perfectly. You can wear it, enjoy it until the next person,
Let's get back to that point you made earlier, which you have hundreds of sites.
Yes.
That's interesting from a marketing standpoint.
Yes.
When we launch a product, we'll have multiple landing pages, and that'll be more so from testing all different channels of distribution. So TV may go to one landing page,
Yes.
digital goes to
Yes.
another landing page.
Yeah.
We'll A/B test different offers for some of the creatives and different the price points, and we'll test all that kind of stuff. But I think it's a little bit different in what you're doing is you're going in and you're essentially establishing yourself against all of the competition by having all these
Yeah,
outlets.
what I've done is because I came from this industry with the watches, and that's kind of my specialty. So I partnered with a very good a friend who had an amazing internet platform. Who had built? His name is Ron Cohen. He's a brilliant guy. He was a pilot in the Israeli Air Force, and and he basically set up and probably spent millions of dollars setting up a platform where you would drop an item in, and it would basically shoot out to over 100 websites, and these websites are not only in different countries, they're in the language in that country and accepting the currency in that country. So
Wow.
it comes up as a local search, not as if you're looking for
all tied to your back. Your
all
same
tied,
back end.
exactly,
Wow,
all tied
that's
to the
crazy.
back end. And then when an item sells, it's
Yeah.
the same thing. It takes everything off. It takes
Yeah.
that item off of all
Off
the
all of
sites.
them.
So it's
yeah, so it's
dynamic.
live.
Yeah.
It's live, and we've been working on this for a long, long time. So in that way, that kind of worked because then you're giving it millions of eyeballs.
Yeah.
And it's coming up as a local search if someone's
Yeah,
in
which helps
Paris or if
your
someone's in-
overall indexing for just Google search in general anyway.
Exactly.
And then do you put dollars against SEO or SEM? Do you spend much money? How do you market?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a whole other show. I mean,
Yeah.
we've built and thrown away dozens of sites,
Uh-huh.
and we've spent tons and tons of money on keywords and SEO and all that. And, at the end, we found out what really works the best is the third-party marketplaces,
Yeah.
ones like eBay or First Dibs or Chrono24, they've already figured out how to get to the end user
Yeah.
and sell the product in that language and so at that point, yeah, they make the sale, but it's all performance based. So
Right.
if you sell an item, they sell 10 items a week, they make commission on 10 items a week, which is well deserved. So I think that the way that the system works is actually works to everybody's benefit.
Yeah, and to your benefit, when somebody, if they're a collector, which a good portion of your customers are, if they're coming in through another third party, and then you end up having that direct relationship with them, there's a long-term value there that
Of course,
you didn't have to pay for.
There you go. If they start communicating with you, and then they want something, and all of a sudden they become a special customer. They're
Yeah.
a repeat customer, and we keep track of everything and everybody.
Yeah.
All of the items have like a library card. There's records of all these items, and
A
because they're-
library card. We haven't
there's
heard
a
that in a
library
while.
card, yeah, like the old days.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a library. And it has the movement number, the number
Yeah.
of jewels, the serial number, the date, who worked on it, when it was worked on, where we bought it, how
Yeah.
much, everything has all the details. So
I love it, and got
it's
a great
it's a
brand.
passion project
Yeah.
because you've got to be a kook, to be in that business.
Yeah.
Really. You've got-
I came into this too, and I thought,
cuckoo clock,
I thought, well, we're going to talk to Jack today, and I'm like, about watches, and I said, I'm thinking, it's crazy that we've come to a place in direct-to-consumer marketing where people are going to spend $100,000, $200,000 on a watch, purses, jewelry, online. Never met you. International. Number one. The second thing I thought of is I wear a watch. I never look at it for the time.
Because you
it
have your
is
phone.
100% just an ornamental piece. It really has nothing to do with the functionality anymore.
It's part
For
of
me.
your it's part of kind of your outfit
Yeah.
in a
Yeah,
way. I have guys
exactly.
that they travel with a box, and their box is like 10 watches. Okay, so this one when they go to the Dodger game, I'm gonna wear this one. Tonight when I'm at dinner, I'm gonna wear that one. Tomorrow during the day, I'm wearing this one, and so that they have this. It's kind of like
Part of who they are, part of their DNA, their fashion.
exactly.
Elizabeth Taylor earlier, and you have Elizabeth Taylor as part of your past and something you've done with her. and her line of jewelry, I believe, right? And this is probably 15 years ago or so plus. And why don't you talk a little bit about that, because I think it's a very interesting story.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy story. It's like a Cinderella story, because how did we meet Elizabeth? I mean, she came to us. Okay. I didn't go to Elizabeth Taylor and look for her or anything like that. So we had done some things in the business that got us recognized, and we worked really hard. We started. I was kind of always intrigued by marketing, and when I was working with my dad in the jewelry business at the beginning, I noticed like nobody was advertising jewelry, right, to the trade. Nobody. Yeah. I mean, there was just nothing going on. So it was so quiet. So if you actually did some advertising, then everybody would know about you. So when you go to the retail store, they would say, "Hey, oh yeah, I saw you in the magazine, that we get every month." So I learned that, very, very quickly that it was kind of an underserved business. It was old Jewish men running this, business that was. It's a bit slow. It wasn't progressing fast, and so I saw it in a different light. And at that time, I was very passionate about computers, and we were making jewelry downtown. And I would notice that the rings, like you would make a ring with 7 stones, right? Yeah, but the holes for the stones, one would be like this, one would be like that, and I was be like, why aren't they all straight? He says, no, because the guy has to drill them himself. And I said, oh my God, this is crazy. Because then, how are you going to take an order for 10 of these pieces? Yeah. They're all going to be, they're messed up. So I found a way to design the jewelry with CAD at the time, and this was like nobody was doing anything like that. So we made a line called Techline Jewelry, and it was all CAD design. I worked with a company in Hong Kong that did it in China, and it was like amazing. And we launched in New York at the Javits at J New York, and they put that picture in an article about us on the cover of Rappaport magazine, our first show. Yeah. So in our first show, we were just, we were pretty slammed with people coming up saying, hey, what is this? You design with computers? What is this? Why do you do it? And how do you do it? And all this. And I said, look, it allows us to make the items, perfectly, symmetrical. The stones are equidistant from each other. The lines are exactly, the same. And so it allows us to make like 1 piece or 100 pieces. They're all going to look the same. And we also knew from the calibrated sizes of the diamonds that it would need. So you wouldn't have to work so hard. And so that line took off. That line really took off. So we had a salesman at that time, 1 salesperson, and we basically grew it to 12 salespeople. And we just took it across the country. In allowing that to do Techline, I opened up some larger accounts. I worked on some large accounts, and one of them was Park Place Media, who owned Caesar's Palace, and they had like 26 properties.
That's a big name.
It's a big name. So they said, look, we've got a lot of casinos. We do a lot of business, and I'm in charge of the jewelry. And it was a woman, Juliana, and she said, I love your guys' stuff, and we make a lot of profit on it. And we'd like to open you up in like 20 doors. And we said, wow, this is great. Especially when you're doing the products like this, you can deliver 20, 40, 100 pieces, and they're all, perfect.
The same,
Exactly. We've taken the human error out of it. And at that time when everybody was doing it the old way with waxes and with, casting and all. So we were like winning that. We were winning that game. And then she came to us after like
Elizabeth
a year.
Taylor.
No, Juliana from Park
okay.
Place. And she said, we just signed Celine Dion. Yeah. And to a 5-year, $100 million deal. And it was like,
to perform at Caesars.
To perform, yeah. They built the Coliseum there for her. And she says, I have kind of an opportunity for you guys because we're going to build a store, and we want to do jewelry in that store. We want to do some high-end pieces, but we want to do stuff that everybody can buy. Sure. Like $60, $80, $100. And then we'll have the 1,000 to up, So we said, wait, we'll do it. I love it. We can make 2 tiers of category. And we did. We made gold and diamond, and we made silver, and we
That's
went
a large business. I mean, to fulfill the amount of traffic going to those shows, like that's not a small business.
It's not a small business, yeah. So and so we pitched to Celine and her manager, and and we met her. She was so nice, and she loved it. I mean, my brother was the designer at the time, Monty. So I'm more the business guy, and he's more like the inside designer and kind of the creative guy.
Yeah.
So he made a silhouette of Celine that was just incredible.
Yeah.
And we rolled it down into CZs and silver, and we had it in gold and diamond, and so that kind of put us on the map in terms of people that recognized us. A year later, they signed Elton John. And then the same thing. She said, "Hey, how about doing Elton John?" I said, "Are you joking? I mean, Elton John, this is it's a dream come true." We used to listen to 8-track tapes of Elton John in my dad's car, driving. My dad was freaking out because he said, "There's no way. I mean, how are we doing this for Elton John?" And we even made him a big piano, a solid gold piano, covered in rubies and diamonds. And they gave him a gift. Caesars gave him the gift. And so that was very, very exciting. And then I started understanding that, we can create a lot of these concepts and ideas and put them in the jewelry and that's our own brand. It's our own items. We don't have competition. We've got our own thing. So we're not going to be the everyday guy that's fighting over business. So my brother at the time had an idea. Women loved handbags. They loved jewelry. So to make a handbag that's jewelry, but a really very, very detailed handbag that's, three-dimensional, it's puffed, it's got the details around it with the right, strap and the right finishing, the right diamond setting, something like a piece of jewelry, right?
Piece of art.
A piece of art, exactly. So we started working on that, and the first batch was enamel in diamond line, where it was basically French enamel with gold and diamonds, which was very difficult to make. We made the models in Asia, in Hong Kong, and we flew the models flew to France, just that piece, to get the French enamel baked and set, and then that piece went back to Hong Kong to be assembled and then sent to us in LA. So it was something unique, taking unique pieces, and we launched it at the jewelry show, and then it was a mob scene. I mean, because I had advertised it, and we picked up like Saks Fifth Avenue, we picked up Nordstrom, we picked up Bailey Banks and Biddle. They gave us like a $5 million order. We got a company in the Caribbean. It's called Diamonds International. 120 stores. They wanted it in all the stores. I mean, I was buying ads for $100,000 a page in all the cruise magazines because, in order to do this deal. And it was like, things were just moving really, 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 really fast. And then at that time, one of our retailers, Geary's in Beverly Hills, picked out some of these Mirabelle handbag purses, and she loved them. She's like, "Oh my God, I love these, can get me more," So he came back and he kept getting more and more, and she was she loved them. And so when we were in the show, they sent a representative from her team, and they said, "Listen, we you know who Elizabeth Taylor is?" I said, "Are you joking? I mean, what are you talking about?" And he said, "Listen, I work with her team, her management team, and these guys want to talk to you." And I said, "Okay, sounds great." So
it might not be a better celebrity fit for jewelry and glamour than Elizabeth Taylor, right?
Yeah, I mean, she's the woman most associated with diamonds and jewelry than any other woman in the world.
Yeah.
So when we spoke to them, I mean, we're a tiny company now, even though we're doing, a few $1 million a year, and we're, doing very, 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 very well. But we're still a small family-owned business, and they said, "Listen, what if Elizabeth? She's going to wrap her arms around you guys, and kind of like not take over, but work with you, give you whatever you need now, whatever money you need, whatever." All those images of her, all of the intellectual property, I mean, all of it.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I said, let me go back and digest this all, So I went back and talked with my brother and my dad, and then I had an attorney that was helping me, Arthur Behrens. He's a famous Beverly Hills attorney, and he said, yeah, let's do a license agreement. Let's get a license agreement with Elizabeth Taylor for everything from multi-million-dollar diamond pieces down to costume jewelry, everything in between, worldwide, and all of it.
Exciting times.
Exciting times. He says, take this paper. If you can get this paper, you can do anything you want. So
her name and likeness, everything.
On everything, everything. Part of the discussions with them, I said, okay, guys, I want to do this deal with you guys, but we're going to need money, like right off the bat, And what happens with my company? So we said, look, who valued my company at $5 million. And so I took $3.5 million out, and $1.5 million I kept in this new company, and then we would all own it together. I would own it with Elizabeth Taylor, and the two of us would own this new company. We would be partners. And as part of this, they would put in $6.5 million just to get us started. And I said, hey, that's not a bad deal. And I agreed. And that's what happened, basically. We did a reverse merger, and we became public. We were a public shell. We were 15 cents a share, and then all of a sudden, we were $3.50 a share overnight.
Not a bad return.
Yeah.
Not a bad return.
So what was the valuation at that point?
Valuation was around $150 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, around that.
And that was all based on just the business plan. That
just based on the business
the cachet of her name.
And the license agreement.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. And I would expect the Elizabeth Taylor name and likeness worldwide as attached to jewelry would have a valuation.
Exactly.
Of that.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's exactly what I thought. So what I did immediately after I signed the deal, I reached out to De Beers, which is the mother and father, of all the diamonds in the world. This is like it's the intel
inside.
If
of
you need money,
yeah.
you go to the U.S. Mint. That's where you go. So this is them, and I wrote them a letter. I said, hey guys, I just secured this license with Elizabeth Taylor, and I want to discuss with you, how we can use this, and we have ideas, and I want to talk to you about sourcing, about using this intellectual property, and how we can kind of work in unison. And they responded, and they said, yeah, we'll give you 4 dates, come to London, have a meeting. So I set up a telephonic and video conference with Elizabeth Taylor at home and with us over there in London with TVs.
Which we do every minute, every day.
Yeah.
now.
Every day, but
then it was like the new
nobody
deal.
did it.
Yeah.
Nobody did it. And
No one did it before COVID.
Nope. I mean, we're talking about, this is 2005.
Yeah, right.
So like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So nobody did it back then, and it took special equipment. You'd have to and so we did that. We had a meeting, and after the meeting, they said, listen, we'll give you, what do you need? Everything up to 100 carats, and everything all the way down, whatever you need.
And how do they do that? They do that on spec? I mean, is it?
No, what they do is they connect you with, they don't have they have the rough diamonds, right?
Yeah.
And what they do is, every month they sell these rough diamonds in things that are called sites. And they sell them to a very, very select group of people. And they get those rough diamonds, and those companies cut the diamonds. And then they go into the full, the public.
Yep.
So it goes through like a couple of 2-3 hands before it actually goes through local dealers and then to stores and things like that. So they would connect us with the top people. It'd be like the Pablo Escobar of diamonds, pretty much. And so that's what I did. They gave me 5 names. One was in South Africa, one was in Israel, one was in Belgium, and 2 were in New York. And so I went to visit all of them. And I told them, look, I've got this deal. I've got this. Do you want to be part of it? And everybody said yes. So I had the South African company, start cutting 1 carats to 7 carats. I had the New York companies that had anything 10 carats to 100 carats we could offer. And then I had a Russian company that was supplying the goods under 1 carat. and they were in New York, so I'd set up all this pipeline, for product, because you really need the right product. If you have the right product, then you can do necklaces, bracelets, earrings, stud. You can do everything. If you've got the pipe of product, then people will, they need product. And if you have it, and if you have the source, and you're able to deliver it, you're the guy. So that's what I was setting up on all those 3 channels. And at that time, I set up an office too at 9200 Sunset. I mean, we had 5 safes in there. We had $25-30 million of inventory. And we were, and I hired a marketing team, and we took off. At that point. But the issue is, that at that level, you're burning through tons of money. And now you just need to find more money. So then we went and we connected with Roth Capital in Newport Beach. These guys were doing amazing things, raising billions of dollars and making crazy parties with Snoop Dogg and Pussycat Dolls, and
That's fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. And we went out to raise $10 million, and they oversubscribed 11.6. So we got like another boost, of revenue, of actual investment money.
And where is that is that all going into inventory? Are you marketing at this point?
Yeah, we're putting it into inventory, we're putting it into marketing, we're putting it into manpower, right? We're adding salespeople, we're doing events.
And where are you selling the lines into?
Everywhere. I mean, we were selling. We made a deal with a company that's called the Sultan Group, and they have stores all over the Arab, world, and they have like 100 stores. They came into the show in Vegas, and they said they want that picture with Elizabeth with the pearls. He said, "Can we have that picture with the pearls?" The famous. And I said, "Of course. If you do the pic," he said, "How much?" And I said, "Okay, let me find out." So that night, I went to the Liz Taylor people. I said, "The guy wants." He wants to use that image in the billboards and the stores and everything. What should I tell him? Opening order. And he says, tell him it's $1 million opening order. And I said, okay. So I went the next day, the guy came. He came and he said, okay, I can do it. And he said, how much? And I said, $5 million opening order. And the guy said, deal, like this.
I love your negotiation.
Crazy. That was this true story. So stuff like that, that's where we were riding in a crazy high.
So
we
fun.
opened up thousands of doors and we were selling like crazy. But at the same time, burning through tons of money. The licensors were getting every month a big check. 35, 40, 50,000 a month. We were paying, $100,000 a month for the rent and the employees, another, 15,000 for parking and for all kind of different, it was just burning through tons of money.
Even though the margins are big.
Margins are big, but, in order to get market share, you've got to kind of go and, and we had opened up so what we figured we needed another angle to this business, and because Elizabeth Taylor and Kathy Ireland were under the same management, we said, look, let's take Kathy Ireland, who's an incredible following of busy moms, and she's just wonderful values, and she's got a loyal following, and let's create a line of jewelry that's more affordable, that's for busy moms can afford. You can get stuff maybe from $50 up to say $1,000. And so maybe Elizabeth Taylor would be $1,500 and up, and then Kathy would be the lower price points. And so that's where we really started to get the traction. We opened up a retail door at that time, Whitehall Jewelers. They had hundreds of doors. And, they multi-million-dollar order. And what had happened was, one day we got a letter and they filed for bankruptcy. And they owed us like $5.5 million.
And that can be the stake in the ground.
And then the everything goes upside down at that point.
Quickly.
And very quickly. And then one or two more larger accounts stopped paying on time. This was 2007, 8. And then the things started getting tough, where there was a meltdown.
Everywhere.
And the company ended up, the higher you go, the harder you crash.
Right.
So the company ended up, crashing after I left. and left tons and tons of collateral
What
damage.
a wild ride, though.
Yeah, but a crazy
That's
ride.
exciting stuff.
Yeah, crazy.
What a
ride.
great story.
Yeah.
Jack. Incredible stories. Elizabeth Taylor, Beverly Hills Vintage Watch Company. Go there if you want an incredible timepiece. And Bling Network. Yeah. Such a good
Bling
story.
Beverly Hills.
Bling Beverly Hills.
Of course, I remember the bling part.
Yeah. Good stories. It's interesting. We have, we're a direct consumer marketing company. We've done some things together in the past, and I'm sure we will continue to in the future.
Love your team, and a very inspirational meeting and knowing Frank Canella.
Yeah. And Schachter, who you've known since your fraternity days.
Fraternity brother.
Yeah.
No, this is a great team, and love the energy here, and wish you guys, all the success, and hopefully we'll do more projects together.
Yeah, we will. I mean, we live in a world where, we're really bottom funnel. Like, it's direct to consumer. We need to get that sale right away. And a lot of the elements that we bring in are, problem solution, functionality. Does it save me time, efficiency? Does it, all of those core values that are a principle of good direct to consumer marketing. And you kind of live in this world that is a lot more upper funnel, but it's aspirational. It's belonging to a community. It's creating value through emotion and stuff like that. So we always enjoy having somebody that can bring a different perspective of marketing into the conversation, and so we really appreciate you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you guys for inviting me, and hopefully we'll learn something from each other.
Yeah, for sure. And when everybody watching does gain a lot of knowledge and go out and make millions, Beverly Hills Vintage Watch Company.
Millions.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's make millions.
All right, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
For more content like this, subscribe to Let's Make Millions and get alerts for all future episodes.